Hi, good morning, folks. This is Curtis Mankey, the McHenry High School College and Career Counselor. We are coming to you live from the high school this morning with our junior post-secondary presentation, or sometimes I like to use the term next step. Our next step, what's next after high school? So what we're going to do today is walk you through what some of those options look like. We have some special guests with us today. I'll pause and I will let everyone introduce themselves. Miss Bacigalupo, we'll start with you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Nicole Bacigalupo. I'm the junior counselor for the top half of the alphabet. So I have students with the last names A through LE.
Hello, I'm Sarah Sadler. I'm also a junior counselor for the bottom half of the alphabet. So I have students L, F through Z.
Hi, good morning. I am Tara Brewer with Michigan Technological University.
And good morning. I'm Amy Carzoli with McHenry County College.
So we have some familiar faces for you this morning. We have some special guests. In a little while, Amy will talk about some of the local educational options and opportunities we have right here in McHenry County. And then Tara will speak about kind of what the four-year college admissions process is like, as well as what four-year college admissions typically look at or perhaps highlight when they're going through applications. Since we are live streaming, you can enter comments right there in the comment section in YouTube. We will see those. So if depending on the question and the timing, I can certainly give you a text response to that. We can also just simply address it right there. We will leave some time at the end of the presentation to respond to some of those comment-based questions people put in as well. So moving on with the presentation, here's who we are. I'm gonna peel my colleagues off screen here. So again, your class of 2024 team here, also the administrators who support us, Dr. Prickett, the principal here at McHenry High School, as well as Mrs. Patrice Frederick, who is our department chair, the assistant principal for student services. So I got a couple of things I'm gonna lead off with here. On the screen right now are just kind of some belief statements. These are the things we tell ourselves every day to make sure that we are working with you and your students appropriately. We believe all students have post-secondary opportunities and that they deserve access to those opportunities. We certainly believe that sustained career success requires some kind of formal training or education beyond a high school diploma. Our students have heard from me many a time that my minimum goal for every McHenry High School student is get trained in something more than a high school diploma. Something more than a high school diploma. And in a few minutes, we'll show you what some of those primary next step options are. We firmly believe that all careers have dignity and value, and that career development is non-linear. It is okay to not know. Summing things up in one word. We got one word at each grade level that kind of summarizes how we work with our students and what we want students to be doing regarding life after high school, post-secondary options. Explore is the one word for junior year. Explore. What is out there beyond these walls, and how might you align with it? How might you fit with that? As far as the agenda for today, we're going to start with some resources and opportunities, things that our students can take advantage of right now. We'll just kind of recap the graduation requirements and kind of come back to the present as well. What are things that academically speaking our students can do here to take advantage of what we offer at McHenry High School, as well as staying on track to graduate, because we can't get to post-secondary until we finish up secondary. We will then talk a little bit about the SAT, that assessment that our juniors statewide, actually, not just McHenry High School, will all take towards the end of junior year in April. And then we'll get into what some of those next step options are, what they aren't, how to access them, how to make yourself the best candidate or best prepare yourself for that. And we will certainly hear from our guests with us today as well. A couple more things for me. I'm going to start off with some resources here. Every junior at McHenry High School has a Schoology course called 2024 Post-Secondary Resources. Again, post-secondary means anything beyond high school. This is also where students can make their own meetings with us. Right below our names, Ms. Bacigalupo, Ms. Sadler, and myself in the Schoology course is a link that students can hit to schedule their own meetings with us. I know Ms. Bacigalupo and Ms. Sadler right now are working with juniors. Every fall, they do their absolute best to meet with every single student in their caseload and students will make those appointments with them by hitting that link. Our students, we certainly encourage you to do that yourself, and don't wait for Miss Bacigalupo or Miss Sadler to hunt you down. So be proactive, take care of things yourself there. As far as a couple of our main resources, this is the first link below our names there in the couple of main resources we have. This is the McHenry High School College and Career Guide. This is a hyperlinked resource, so depending on what section a student or parent might be inquiring about at any given time, they can open up this document and then just simply click on whatever hyperlink best fits them at that time. So if you want to look into what it is like to start at MCC and transfer to a four-year school, you can hit that link. If it's senior year and you want to know how to fill out an application, you hit that link. If you want to figure out how to pay for what's next, you could check out the financial aid FAFSA scholarships link. This is really kind of our one-stop shop resource that has the bulk of the different opportunities information that we like to see students and parents using. This next resource, which is also in that Schoology course that our students all have access to, indicates the different post-secondary representatives that come within our buildings. On the left side is a list of colleges, military recruiters, some career-specific speakers that we have that come in. They can meet with our students right in the College and Career Center, which is just a mere steps from where myself, Ms. Bacigalupo, and Ms. Sadler are located right now. We strongly encourage students to come down to see any institute they might be interested in. They can, see what they have to offer, add them to the list, maybe cross them off the list. I will certainly say, and I know Tara and Amy can back me up on this a little later on, that these representatives are here to sell their institutions to your students. They are not here to necessarily evaluate students based on whether or not they're going to accept them. So I say that because sometimes our students are reluctant to engage in these because they're worried that about what the reps will think of them. I would argue it's the other way around. The reps are here to sell their institutes, so the pressure is on them. I tell our students, be polite, be engaged, and everything else will take care of itself. On the right side of the screen are events, some of which are within our walls, some of which are local in the area or the county, as well as some virtual opportunities that our students can engage in and our families can engage in as well. My last slide for this section before I pass things over to Ms. Bacigalupo here in a moment. These are just simply some upcoming events that are open to our students. In 2 weeks, we are going to take a bus of students up to Carroll University. So if your student has never been on a college campus before, or maybe they're interested in Carroll, Carroll is about an hour away, so it's within driving distance. We can easily do a day trip there. Lunch is covered, so we got that for you. Permission forms are in the College and Career Center. Students can pick them up there and bring them back. We still have about 20 seats on the bus available, so we strongly encourage your student to take advantage of this opportunity. Carroll has all sorts of majors. Some of its noteworthy ones include psychology, nursing, physical therapy, athletic training, freshwater studies, marine biology, in which you actually spend 2 years studying in Hawaii through a partnership they have there. They are also one of the few schools in the nation that has an animal behavior major. Quite interesting route if you're interested in that. And they have another 30 or 40 majors on top of what I just mentioned as well. Every October, MCC graciously hosts a four-year college fair that anyone in the county can come and attend. So if your student is thinking about starting in a four-year school and is looking to add some schools to the maybe list, I would definitely encourage you to come check that out the evening of October 4th at MCC. A week later, the evening of October 12th, is our annual Manufacturing, Trades, and Industry Expo that is held right here at McHenry High School in the brand new wing on the north end of the building. From there, our students who are thinking about workforce training based careers that may not involve a bachelor's degree, but certainly involve more training beyond a high school diploma. They can check out some of the local employers, what manufacturing looks like. Manufacturing and healthcare are by far the two biggest employment industries in this county. So we do everything we can to support our community partners. MCC will have a large presence there as well. as well as some other ways students can get trained beyond these walls. And then one other I will point out here will be down here on October 21st. We're going to bring a charter bus full of students down to Illinois State University. This is specific to students who are strongly thinking about being future educators themselves, teachers, or people who, like myself, are not classroom teachers but still practice our trade in an educational setting. If your student is considering that, please tell them to come to the College and Career Center immediately. Grab a permission form. Right now it looks like we have more interest than seats. So the sooner we get those permission forms in, the quicker we can determine how many we can bring and who we can bring, just to be even more specific there. Next up, I'm going to pass things over to my colleague, Ms. Bacigalupo. Let me pull you on the screen here. Ms. Bacigalupo.
Hi, good morning, everyone, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. I'm super jealous because Mr. Mankey took the slide about expos and field trips, and I've got the slide about everyone's favorite topic, standardized testing. On October 25th, all juniors are going to be taking the PSAT and MSQT. That P stands for preliminary, not practice. Students are encouraged to do their best because it's a National Merit Scholarship qualifying test, which means if students do very well on it, they could walk away with some national scholarships. The format is just like the SAT. It has sections on reading, writing, and language and math. When students register to take the PSAT, they can opt in or out to College Board Student Search Service. What that means is students will be giving information like their address, their email address, and they'll receive flyers, brochures from different colleges and scholarship opportunities. If you do not want your student to take part in this, please have that conversation with them prior to October 25th. Scores are going to be viewable on the College Board accounts in early December. If your student is locked out of their account or forgot their password, you or your student will have to call College Board yourself. There's a customer service line to reset that. Unfortunately, counselors are not able to do that, but you can. Just be prepared to be on hold for a little bit if you encounter that. One silver lining about the pandemic that we have still been in, I know I had this slide last year and I've been having some flashbacks. I've been presenting this before. Many schools are test optional, which means students do not have to submit their SAT score as a part of their application. However, we're still encouraging students to do their best on the SAT and take it more than once because there are qualifications for national institutional scholarships and merit-based scholarships depending on that SAT score. The SAT score can also impact college course placement. Even though many schools have been test optional, we are still seeing schools in the South, particularly large public universities, hold on to the SAT as part of their admissions. And regionally, we're seeing some schools include the SAT in the future application cycles. For example, down the pipeline, Purdue is going to be including that again. So we're seeing the SAT creeping back into applications. Some overview, all juniors are going to be taking the school day SAT on October 12th. This is very, very important that they attend because this is the test they need to sit for as part of their graduation requirement. If your student for some reason is sick or can't attend this day, please make sure that they attend the retake because again, they need this to graduate. McHenry is now an official testing board site. So if your student wants to sign up for an additional SAT, which we encourage, they can come take it here in March or June. So that's nice and convenient for our families and students. You can register for those optional sessions on the College Board account. Some opportunity for SAT prep is the ZAPS program. This is a program where curriculum is given by McHenry teachers. They've been trained in ZAPS. So teachers who are familiar with your student, who know your student. There are 4 sessions for both English and 4 sessions for math. So 8 sessions total, typically in the winter. This is last year's flyer. We anticipate it'll probably be around the same time in February. This is great because it holds kids accountable for that SAT prep. We do have some more opportunities I'll present on in a second, but a lot of those are kind of voluntary. Students have to carve out their own time to do that prep, but this holds kids accountable. Forms will be available on the Schoology and district website soon. The program is $50. However, if your student qualifies for free or reduced lunch, they can attend it for free. Khan Academy is a website that students have been using for a little while now to do some more SAT prep. If your junior is in the junior seminar class, they're doing Khan Academy on almost a daily basis, whether they like it or not. If your student's not in junior seminar, they certainly can log on and practice themselves. They're just going to have to find some time in their free time to do that. We have some local incentives for the SAT. The first one is the Scores Rise a Latte program. So if students sign up for the March testing date, they'll get a $5 Starbucks gift card. So coffee on us, or maybe, 3/4 of a coffee if you're a person who adds your cold foam, your espresso shots, your caramel drizzle, whatever. It can get a little bit expensive, but that's still a nice perk. We also have the Invest to Your Best initiative, where students show that they're preparing for the SAT, for example, doing 10 hours of Khan Academy prep, 20 hours of Khan Academy prep, signing up for that March testing date. They could be entered into a raffle where we've had some really cool prizes. So some examples are free prom tickets, a parking spot, $100 Amazon gift card, some really cool prizes. I know last year students were super excited to go to the main office and claim those, so we're happy for students to have that opportunity again. Some grade level planning. So these are the credits that all juniors will be capturing this year. So that includes 1 credit or 1 year of English, 1 credit of math, 1 credit of science, 1 credit of PE, 1 credit of US history, and minimally 1 elective credit. We have many students who are going to earn more than 1 elective credit, but that's the 6 credits they need to be on track to graduate. To graduate, they need 24 credits, which you can see over on the right, what those credits are comprised of. In addition, driver's ed is required to graduate the classroom portion. I know I've probably said this before, but if your student has taken driver's ed privately, please have them come talk to me or Ms. Sadler so that we can get a picture of their license and add proof of completion of driver's ed on their transcript. Now, I know it's only September of junior year, but we're already thinking ahead to senior year. Course selection is going to be at the beginning of second semester. This is the last opportunity seniors have to engage in coursework here at the high school level. So we're encouraging that students really consider their post-secondary plan when making those choices, particularly their elective choices, or if they're taking a 4th year of math or science. We want to make sure that if they haven't taken a certain capstone course, or maybe haven't tried an AP class that might challenge them, they definitely do so their senior year. I'm going to review the Distinguished Warrior criteria really quick. As you can see on the top, students need 3 of those indicators there. Those indicators are related to academic performance, attendance, involvement in school activities, community service, that kind of thing. Down below, I'm just going to point out the English language arts and math indicators. Those are something to consider when your student is going into course registration next semester. For example, for English, students need to have one of the following. So an SAT score of 540, an ACT score of 18 in English or 22 in reading. Now, the ACT is something we do not sit for as a school. If your student wants to take the ACT, you're going to have to register on your own. And a C or above in a dual credit English, a C or above in an AP English, so either AP Lit or AP Lang, or 3 and above on the AP exam in those courses. If your student has not met that SAT requirement, it's very important they meet one of the others by the end of senior year. Same thing for math. They need an SAT score of 540 or an ACT score of 22, a C or above in dual credit math or transitional math or AP math, a 3 or more on the AP exam, or a C or above in English 2. We just want to point this out because senior year, sometimes students will be enrolled in, for example, a dual credit English class, and they'll want to drop the class. And by doing so, they might make themselves ineligible for Distinguished Warrior. If you have any questions about Distinguished Warrior, feel free to reach out to us. However, Mr. Iserman is kind of the key person for that program. Now I'm going to hand this over to Ms. Sadler, who's going to talk about, oh, no, Mr. Mankey, I'm sorry, who's going to talk about career exploration. Thank you, Mr. Mankey.
And I was muted. That's great. Person running the show forgets to unmute. So let's start that over. Thank you, Ms. Pacigalupo. So this slide right here really kind of captures the factors that go into career exploration. I love this image right here Because when it comes to picking a career, going with whatever that next step is, it really comes down to interests. What do you like? Skills. What are you good at? Values. What's important to you? Personality. Who you are. And we find the sweet spot where all four of those things intersect. And that hopefully can give us a short list of careers that might align with those 5 factors. As far as the next step options, so at the actual action piece that our students will be taking, that your juniors will be acting on about a year from now, again, I overgeneralize them into 4 very broad categories. And those categories would be starting directly at a 4-year school, starting at MCC, doing 2 years there, and then transferring to a 4-year school, still 4 total years. You're just doing 2 of them at MCC in that case, and then 2 of them at the other school. Military, on any given year, about 3 to 4% of McHenry grads take their next step in military enlistment. And then workforce training, which is a term I use to kind of capture trades, apprenticeships, manufacturing. A lot of your hands-on careers are where you certainly need more training beyond a high school diploma. So let's tiptoe into each of them here for a moment. With the military, again, we strongly encourage students to work with the recruiters. Definitely include their family, given the kind of commitment that students take when they enlist in the military. Regardless of branch, all students considering the military will take an assessment called the ASVAB. I would argue that when students prepare for the SAT, they also, in a way, are preparing for the ASVAB, because like the SAT, the ASVAB is very math and reading heavy. So when students take SAT seriously, they're also taking ASVAB prep seriously. We do have some print ASVAB resources in the College Career Center students can use. There's also a free online resource called March to Success that students can also use to prepare for the ASVAB. Workforce training entry points. There are all sorts of them. Again, this county is littered with ways in which students can prepare for a career in workforce training-based careers. These are just some examples on your screen of local apprenticeship providers. I will note MCC is at the top of the list because, as you will hear again later on, MCC really is the education and training hub for this county. The other lists there are also apprenticeship providers and or local employment providers. I will make a note here. I'll skip ahead a couple slides. Here's a list of local labor unions, which are all within about an hour or so of here tops. Again, this slide is taken directly from that college and career guide that I referenced earlier. So these all hyperlink directly to that labor union's apprenticeship program. This slide in particular, to steal a little bit of Amy's thunder, talking about MCC, I intend this slide to simply overwhelm people. Not that I expect people to be reading every word on the screen. This is about 1/3 of the different certifications, so non-degree options that people can earn from MCC in a wide variety of areas, many of which are workforce training based. Again, when we think autos, we think welding, we think manufacturing, construction. These are all workforce-based careers that you can get trained at MCC. And honestly, the training there will be a lot more inexpensive than if you went to a classic private trade school. Quick example, you could spend 30 grand to go to a private auto school to become a certified automotive maintenance technician, or you could spend about 5 grand and get that exact same training and that exact same certification from MCC. Passing things over now to Miss Sadler, who's going to talk about some ways students can prepare and search for 4-year schools. Miss Sadler.
Hi, everyone. So we use a college career platform called Naviance. And with this platform, you can research specific colleges by using a really cool survey called Supermatch. So basically, the survey filters through criteria and matches you to colleges based on your preferences, such as location, size, scholarships offered, clubs they may have. Anything that is specific to you, you can filter through to find schools that have it. Parents also have access to Naviance if they also are trying to find schools that they feel would be a good fit for their child. So any parent can have access in their student's account. Also, one thing to mention, when you do pick a school through Naviance, you can heart it and it'll save for you. And you can heart as many schools as you want so that you don't have to keep going back to look for it. All right, college search fit factors. So there's certain criteria that we definitely recommend students look at when they are picking a school. So for example, the institution type. Do you want a 2-year school, a 4-year school, public or private? Obviously, there's going to be different tuition rates based on which ones you pick. Location and proximity to home, programs and majors. Obviously, students will need to pick a school that has their major. If they're undecided, then that's okay too. Most first 2 years of college are prerequisites. So many students do change their major throughout their schooling, but we do recommend that students find a program that does interest them if they are picking a school. Also, enrollment size can make a huge difference. Some colleges have a lot of students on campus, some have much smaller student body. So that can also influence how a student does in a classroom. Do they want a bigger classroom or smaller classroom, more individualized help from the teacher, or are they okay in big lecture rooms? Also cost and institutional awards. Different colleges offer different financial packages, so that can be a factor. Every student is a unique individual, so your wants and needs are very customized. And now is definitely the time to search and make a list of what are your standards for college. Also, consider campus resources and services. An example could be, is there mental health services at this school, or any other type of service that you know you will need in order to feel supported and successful. Admission selectivity, Greek life, such as sororities and fraternities. How diverse is the school? Does it have an ROTC program? Study abroad opportunities. Most schools have different opportunities for that. So definitely check that out. Job placement opportunities, athletic programming, student success rates, housing and living options. For example, some colleges may require a student live in the dorm for the first 1 to 2 years, while others may allow students to live off campus. And then also religious affiliation. College admission factors. So data collected immediately pre-pandemic. So there's sometimes different trends with college admissions, but of course there are some that are going to be more important than others. Obviously, grades extremely important. Students are really, they need to make sure that they are keeping up or keeping on track with grades in order to remain eligible to apply to certain schools. Also, how rigorous is your schedule? Are you challenging yourself? Are you over challenging yourself? Or are you under challenging yourself? So colleges look at this too. Admission test scores. So a majority of colleges right now may be test optional. This just means that you don't have to have an SAT score specifically to get into a college. Some make it optional to send in your score, but depending on the program, you may need to have a certain SAT score, such as for engineering or nursing. So it all depends on the school. There may be essay or writing samples for the application. You may need a counselor recommendation or teacher recommendation, class rank. So as you can see, there's different factors, and depending on school, the school will decide which factors are most important. Okay, another thing that we highly encourage for our students is to take college campus tours. Juniors and seniors are allowed 2 days each year for a college visit. This is an excused absence from school. During this, we recommend that students ask questions, tour the dorms, get to know the campus and community, and if possible, do a tour through admissions. We also emphasize that when you do visit a college, you're going to get different experiences based on when you go. So if you go during like summertime, you may not get the feel for the student life. But if you go during the school year while students are in session, you will get a much better feel for, okay, like what's going on? What is this campus like? You can never really know what school you want to go to until you step foot though the websites give beautiful virtual tours, we really want kids to go there just to experience is this a good fit for me or is it not? Okay, and I believe now I am passing on to Mr. Mankey.
Yep, back to me, and I'm actually I'm gonna pull Ms. Bacigalupo back on here for a second. I just realized that in my hasty clicking, we missed a slide here on the NCAA. So I'll just remain right here because you'll be passing it back to me after this one, Ms. Bacigalupo. But
All
go
right,
ahead.
sounds good. I thought that was too easy. So something that's really important is if your student is planning on pursuing an athletic career at the D1 or D2 level, that they let us know during their junior meetings, which I know Mr. Mankey already mentioned once again, but we've been reaching out to kids on Schoology, email, trying to get them to sign up with us. If you talk to your student, they haven't met with us, please have them check those places so they can schedule their meeting. The reason being, to play at that level, you have to have taken the 16 NCAA approved core courses, which you can see down below. Most of these are built into our graduation requirements. However, at the very bottom, when you see that 3.5 additional courses or world language, that can get tricky if your student is a junior, they've never taken a world language, they don't anticipate taking a fourth year of math or science. We are going to have to make some choices so that they can get to their 16 core courses.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bacigalupo. Let me pull you back off the screen here, and then we'll resume the show where we left off. So a couple of slides I've been working into basically every presentation I've been doing because, again, access is such an important factor. We never want someone to believe that they can't pursue further training or education for disability reasons, or as you'll see in the next slide, financial reasons. So disability services are available to at any public school nationwide, which definitely includes community colleges. So that would mean any student who has a 504 or an IEP in high school can then apply for accommodation services at that school. Private schools technically do not have to offer disability services. However, most do because they know that if they don't, they just lost out on a huge chunk of potential students. So again, if your student has a 504 or an IEP and they would like to apply for accommodations and services at the college level, most colleges have an access and disability office. It might not be named exactly that. Sometimes those words might be rearranged, but it's usually something along those lines. MCC's access and disability service is wonderful. They are very responsive, very supportive. I will say that students who are seeking these accommodations, you do have to be proactive and talk to the office because your high school 504 or IEP will not automatically transfer over to that school. So again, you have to be proactive. You have to self-advocate and request those services. Another one here for me. Income status. Again, we never ever want income status to be a barrier between, for someone to get to further training or education beyond high school. These schools on the screen, there are 12 public universities, four-year public universities in Illinois. Many of them offer discounted, if not free, tuition programs for students who A, get accepted to the school, and B, whose family income comes in below of a certain threshold they have. You can see kind of the general threshold number. That number can differ a little bit school to school. U of I's, for instance, is around 67,000. I believe Northern's is 75,000. But again, if your family qualifies for free or reduced lunch or has other demonstrable income hardships, financial hardships, make sure that a couple of these schools are on your application list because you might be able to go there tuition free. Yes, tuition free. Speaking of money, as I change a little graphic at the bottom of the screen there as well, and Amy, I'll be throwing things your way here in just a moment or so. I got a couple more slides here. One on the FAFSA. The FAFSA is your federal financial aid application. This is something that people fret about, and I understand why. So in October of your senior year, you will complete the FAFSA. Basically, you're asking the federal government, more specifically the Department of Education, for a hand paying for what's next. You're also asking the state, and you are also requesting that from any school that you apply to. Completing the FAFSA, again, is done in fall of senior year after October 1st. FAFSA completion is also a state of Illinois graduation requirement. So we cannot give students their diploma unless they complete the FAFSA. There is a paper opt-out form as well for families who choose not to. And without going into too much detail in this format, I strongly encourage families to complete the FAFSA. Don't assume that you won't qualify for things. Even if you don't qualify for federal aid, schools who see or who have a FAFSA on file might be able to award their own monies as well. So I've never seen, read, heard, experienced anything negative happening to anyone, any family who submitted the FAFSA. Submitting the FAFSA can be a sensitive topic for some folks because, being honest with you, it does mean you have to submit the student and a parent's social security number, as well as information about family income and how much funding is in the bank account. That is sensitive information, so I say this with as much respect and dignity as I can. I understand why some folks are reluctant to submit that. That is not information most folks like to talk about, let alone submit to a different entity. Again, if you have questions, concerns about that, what it means, please contact me, and we can talk those through and make sure that you have all the information at hand to make an informed choice on how to do this. Ultimately, my message is I never want to see a student or family leave money on the table, and completing the FAFSA can help ensure that every dollar that's out there for you is looked at and considered. One other slide that I have here before I'll pass things over to Amy from MCC. Scholarships, a word that most people are a little more familiar with than financial aid. Scholarships are typically free money. You can find them from, again, speaking in broad generalities, you can find them in 3 locations. Location 1 is from the schools themselves. So what does MCC offer? What does Michigan Tech offer? What does Northern offer? What does U of I offer? See what those schools offer. Additionally, we offer local scholarships from local organizations. So for instance, the McHenry Kiwanis Club offers a scholarship every year. The McHenry County Retired Teacher Foundation offers a scholarship every year. We will have close to 100 of those posted. Most of them come out during second semester of senior year. Some do trickle in the fall. The other scholarship source that students can look at, and this is the one that juniors can start checking out now, would be national scholarships. Naviance, the resource that Ms. Sadler referenced earlier, has a free national scholarship search in it. College Board has one. There's several others out there that are free and reputable. I would encourage that be a step that our juniors take this year, because again, you never know what's out there, and you never know who else is or isn't applying. I'm going to tell a quick story in about 30 seconds. Last year, we had a brand new scholarship that we offered to our seniors from the McHenry Lions Club. They were offering 2 $500 awards to students going into workforce training careers, so students who are going to stay close to home for their education and training. We had 2 people apply for those awards. You can guess which 2 students walked away with $500 each. One of those 2 students graduated from one of our alternative programs. The first number in his GPA was the number 1. Anyone can be a candidate for these awards. You just got to put yourself out there. I'm going to come back to this slide at the end, some of the to-dos and actions and whatnot. But with that, I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Amy Carzoli from MCC. Amy, pulling you on screen there. How are we doing today, Amy?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Really excited to be here and answer or talk a little bit about MCC and what we can offer your students. So the mission of MCC, we can go to the next slide, sorry. So the mission of MCC is our focus is learning, student success is our goal. So what does that mean to you as a student or as a parent? First of all, there are 3 things that we focus on: accessibility, affordability, and being student focused. Next slide, please. So what does accessibility mean? It means that all students are welcome. There are no general admission requirements to take classes here at MCC. You don't even have to have a high school diploma. So whether you are graduating high school this year, next year, or 20 years ago, we have something to offer you and would invite you to come to campus. So our campus is walkable, small enough to be walkable, and it does have a community feel. We have plenty of free parking available for our students, and our average class size is about 20 students. We offer 6 buildings that are all connected. That seems to be very important to everybody because you don't have to go out in the rain or the snow to get from class to class. And then each semester we see about 8,000 students between all of our types of classes. So next slide. What are the different types of support services that MCC can offer you? Well, we are here to support you along your path the entire time that you're at MCC. We start with providing application assistance with our new student enrollment coaches, and then we have a financial aid team who is always willing to help out. We have individualized support through our Access and Disability Services office, academics resources through our Sage Learning Center, which is free tutoring. And then depending on what your next step is after MCC, if you're planning to transfer, we offer support and resources in that area. And if you are looking to head into a career after your time at MCC, we have that support also. Our academic advisors are always available to help out, and we do highly encourage you to meet with them every semester. Next slide. So you get to design your own experience at MCC. You can take one class, you can complete one certificate, or you can do an entire degree, whatever meets what your goals are and what you're hoping to get out of your time here. So we offer full-time and part-time. You can take your classes in person or online or blended. And we offer classes in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening. You can really build your schedule for what fits your life. So if you have a part-time job and you can only take classes in the morning, we can work with you on that. Or maybe vice versa, you work during the day and need to take classes at night. We have options for everybody. We have a lot of hands-on learning labs. You'll see 2 of them here. That is our culinary lab for our culinary program. And then we have an amazing planetarium for our students who are interested in astronomy and other earth science types of courses. We encourage all of our students to get involved. I'm sure you've heard that students who are involved in their college campus have a much higher success rate than those who are not. So next slide. So let's talk a little bit about paying for college. So Mr. Mankey went through this a little bit, but again, one of our core values is to be affordable for students and families. And we know that that means something different for everybody. So our tuition rate currently is $111.50 per credit hour plus fees. So what that means is that a typical 3 credit class at MCC is going to cost you under $400, where that same class with the exact same syllabus and learning outcomes might cost you over $1,600 at a public 4-year institution in Illinois, or even close to $2,400 at a private 4-year. So all of our, the majority of our programs are financial aid eligible, and we do let you know if you have signed up for a program that is not financial aid eligible. One thing I wanted to add to what Mr. Mankey was mentioning about the FAFSA is that it is required as to graduate from high school in the state of Illinois. And if you are in a situation where your parents do not have a social security number, you can still fill out the FAFSA as long as you as the student have a social security number. If neither the student or the parent have a social security number, there is an alternative application called the RISE application. It is available through ISAC, and your counselor can get you that information, how to access it. And what that does is it provides eligibility for Illinois state funding to help you attend school. Again, there are a lot of scholarships available. At MCC, we have over 100 different scholarships each year. One of the really exciting and cool things about MCC is that there's only one application for our scholarships. So you complete the application, you answer a bunch of questions about your interests, what your plans are after MCC, your GPA, and you just answer a variety of questions, and then our system behind the scenes automatically matches you to every scholarship that you qualify for. So you don't have to go through lists and lists of scholarships and try to figure out which ones you qualify for. Our system does that for you. Our scholarships range anywhere from $250 to even $10,000. And those $10,000 scholarships would cover your entire 2 years at MCC. As a full-time student, it typically costs around $4,000 to $5,000 a year to be a full-time student. Another thing I will mention about scholarships, it was mentioned previously that there are non-institutional scholarships that you'll want to look for within your community. I would also encourage you and your parents to look at your employer. We have a lot of employers locally and nationally that offer scholarships, not only for their employees, but also for their employee dependents. Okay, so the next slide, what is available at MCC? So we have transfer degrees. There are 5 of them. These are for those students who know that they're going to transfer to a 4-year institution for a bachelor's degree. We have an associate in arts, an associate in science, 2 associate in fine arts, 1 in art and 1 in music, and then an associate in engineering science. We also have over 30 associate in applied science degrees. Those are associate degrees for students who know that they want to enter the workforce after MCC and will not be pursuing a bachelor's degree. Those AAS degrees cover everything from nursing to automotive to web design and manufacturing management. We also offer over 65 certificates. Each certificate is a little bit different. They range anywhere from 1 class to 8 or 9 classes. And one of the really cool things about our certificates is as long as you stay within a specific pathway, many of our certificates are stackable. So you might take a certificate that is 3 classes in automotive, and then maybe you want to go out and get a job for a little while. And then you're in the automotive industry and your employer really wants you to expand what you can do at their shop. And so you come back and you take another certificate, or maybe you're just building upon these certificates progressively while you're here. One really cool thing is that these certificates are stackable and they lay on top of each other. So after a couple certificates, you might be only a class or 2 away from an associate's degree. And then we have our non-credit career training programs. These are things like 911 dispatcher, real estate, veterinary assistant, phlebotomy. The 3 top employers in McHenry County are healthcare, manufacturing, and education. So we can really prepare you for getting a job within the county or anywhere that you choose to go. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk about is if you are preparing to transfer on after MCC, we offer assistance with transfer guides, and we have college rep visits come out here just like they do at the high school. And then we have over 30 different guaranteed admissions with universities. What this means is that if you know what university you're going to transfer to when you start here, you can look and see if we have a guaranteed admission program with them. If we do, as long as you follow everything you need to follow while you're here at MCC, then when you are finished at MCC, you are guaranteed admission into that university. Now, those are not the only universities that you can transfer into. You can transfer to anywhere you want when you leave MCC, but these are the schools that you have an opportunity to know as long as you, follow all the guidelines while you are here, that you don't have to go through that rigorous admission process after MCC. And then if your next stop after MCC is a job or a career, then we're here to help you with that also. We have career coaching, we have a job board, and that job board is not just for current or prior MCC students, it's open to anybody in the community. We offer resume help, interviewing, job shadowing. We do presentations on how to build your LinkedIn profile. We're really here to support you, whatever your next step is after MCC. And then finally, I just want to mention, we talked a little bit before about how involved students are successful students. There are many ways to get involved at MCC. We have very successful sports programs, athletic programs here. Many of our athletic teams are ranked nationally within the junior college system. We also have student clubs and organizations, events. We have a black box theater and a fitness center. So if you have any questions about what it's like to be a student here at MCC, I would encourage you to go to our website. And if you do /start, that'll get you all the information you need to get started. Please have your parents follow us on Facebook at MCC Admissions, and then check out our events because we have information sessions throughout the year and other events to help you learn more about what it's like to be a student here. That's our contact information. And if you have any questions, I think we have a way to navigate that within the system.
Well, Amy, thank you so much. MCC really is among our, if not our greatest partner, especially locally. I would argue, regardless of what you want to do beyond high school, you could take your next step at MCC and probably save a lot of money and get the exact same education that you would for 2 years someplace else. Whether you're taking Earth Science 101 at MCC or Earth Science 101 at Northern or U of I, guess what? You're taking Earth Science 101. I'm going to pull my partner Tara on screen here from Michigan Tech. I'm going to go to your first slide here, Tara. I'm going to, before I turn things over to you, I'm just going to remind our viewers, our live viewers here, you can enter questions into the comment box there in YouTube, and we will respond to them after Tara is done with her portion of the presentation. So don't be afraid to enter questions into that comment box in YouTube. All right, Tara.
Hi. So thank you guys so much for being here. I am Tara Brewer. I have been in admissions with four-year universities and colleges for about 18 years, 5 years at small private schools, and then 13 years with Michigan Tech, which is a medium-sized public research-based university. So I'm going to talk a little bit and give you a sneak peek about the whole application process, how you kind of arrive at that final decision, and what are the four-year schools really looking at. So to get started, I always like to say the real focus is on you. This is about you finding a home, finding a fit, finding a place that you feel like you're going to be a part of a family. And so like Ms. Sadler said earlier, these are some great areas to start when you're kind of putting together that college list. And I always kind of suggest while you're putting together that list, try to look at schools that maybe vary a little bit, somewhere far from home, somewhere closer to home, maybe a small school, a medium-sized school. You may surprise yourself as to what actually feels the most comfortable for you. Like, for example, I thought for sure I was going to go to U of I like all of my friends. And I went to visit U of I and realized very quickly that that was not going to be a great fit for me. And I ended up choosing a small private school that was less than 2,000 students. So this is a great place to get started. We can go to the next slide and I'll kind of move into, so once you have that list put together and maybe you've done a few visits and you're ready to start applying, what are the colleges going to be looking at? In the application process, there's a few different ways to go about it. The Common App is really popular. Michigan Tech is on the Common App. I think probably close to thousands of schools now are on the Common App. There's about 2,000 colleges nationwide. So you're going to have a lot of opportunity to get access by filling out one application and then sending it to a variety of schools through the Common App. Or you can go directly to the school's website and apply there. Some schools will have application fees, some do not. Either way, there are ways to work around that. Usually if you contact the school or maybe visit the college, I always say if they have an application fee, ask for an application fee waiver. Some hand them out very regularly, some do not. It just depends on the school. When it comes time to sitting down at the computer and putting together all your information and filling out this application, there are a few key components. The first would be the paper portion of the application. That's going to ask more of the logistical questions. Name, year you want to enroll, what is your intended major, things like that. And then the second portion I call is more like your transcripts, the academic portion. So your transcripts, potentially your test scores. With COVID-19, a lot of schools have sort of let test scores go, and my hope is that we'll continue that trend. Michigan Tech, for example, this year does not require a test score, but some still do, so it just depends. And then the third portion of the application tends to be like more the personal side of you. So showcasing your essay or your personal statement. There is sometimes a letter of recommendation or an interview process that could be part of that too. This is the time when colleges really want to get a sneak peek into you as a student and what you are passionate about, how you spend your time. Do you have like time management skills, things like that. So those three portions really kind of make up the bulk of how we as admissions counselors make our decision. When we're looking at these three portions, there are different things that we're looking for. So for the paper portion where you're filling out more of the logistical information, typically we're just looking to make sure it's all filled in, everything looks good. It's really where the academic and the personal portion come in that we take a deeper dive. Just like you're looking for a good college fit, we're looking for a good student fit too. So academic profiles, when we're looking at your transcript and your test scores, we're typically looking at trends, grade trends, GPA, and course rigor. So what I mean by all of that are, when you started your first year of high school, where did you kind of start? Did you start with B's and C's? Did you start with A's and B's? And did that continue? Did it improve? And as you went through your sophomore, junior, and then we really don't see your senior year transcripts. We're really kind of making our decision based on first, second, and then junior year. We're looking to see, did you do well in, let's say, honors biology and then take an AP, science course? And how did you do? Did you maintain the AB or the BC or kind of where your average was? And then we look at our student profile and we look at your student profile as far as like GPA is concerned. So if our average student on campus has like, let's say a 3.0 and you have a 3.5, you're probably going to be a really great fit on our campus. So that indicates to us like, yes, you can definitely handle the academics we have here on our campus, and we're probably going to admit you. For the personal side of things, the essay and things like that, we're really looking at what do our students love to do and what do you love to do? And will you find a home with our students? And because we do want to see, colleges really like to see students who are going to be good fits on their campus, because that means you're going to find friends pretty quickly. You're going to be excited to be part of our clubs and organizations because these are things you're already passionate about. And then you're probably going to be more successful because you have all of these sort of support systems and outlets and networks on our campus already built in for you. And if you're excited to be on our campus, you're going to be successful, you're going to graduate, and you're going to be an excited alum. And that's our goal. We want you to achieve your dreams, get to where you want to be, and our colleges are here to support you in all of that. So when do you kind of get started with all of this? I say a good rule of thumb is to try to get all of your applications done by November 1st. Although it's really important to check deadlines with all of the colleges on your list, November 1st tends to be a really popular deadline for first round of application review, which is important for some of the bigger schools who sometimes cut off their application consideration processes at different times. November 1st in October, if you can get your FAFSA done in October, and your application's done by November 1st, that also means that it's likely you'll get your financial aid award letters a little bit sooner too, which then allows you more time to decide. Although it's not a firm deadline for all schools, May 1st is still a pretty popular deadline for decision making. It used to be like the national decision day. I think it still really kind of is. So if you can get your financial award letters a little bit sooner, that gives you longer to kind of talk with us, consult with us as admission counselors. We would love to make sure you have a comfortable financial fit as well as a campus fit and an academic fit. Again, it's important to us that you are excited, confident, and comfortable in your college decision choice. And if you're constantly worried about how you're going to pay for it, that's not a great place to start. So we want to help you with that and make sure that's a good fit for you too. So once you get those financial aid award letters, which for a lot of schools will come in winter or early spring, then it is a good time to reach out to your admissions offices, your financial aid offices, especially for your top 3 schools, and kind of see is this the best offer? Does this work for you? And once you find that good fit, so you found the academic, the campus, the geographic, and now the financial fit, and you're good to go and you feel like 95% sure this is the school you're going to call home, then it's a great time to submit your tuition deposit or enrollment deposit. That's the May 1st deadline for the enrollment or tuition deposit. Those are different at every college. So for example, it's a $200 non-refundable deposit for Michigan Tech. But once you've done that, then it usually opens up the housing application, and then it gears you up or cues you in, like it's saving your spot in our class. So now we know we're going to create a class schedule for you. You're going to be here in the fall, and we're starting to kind of do the next step things. But I kind of laid it out on the spreadsheet here, when to expect what. And I hope that's helpful. I think the big takeaway from me to you, hopefully, is that admissions professionals, we're here to help. And as you do start your college search, whether it's with a school like Michigan Tech or a different school, please reach out to us. We are happy to help. Like Mr. Menke said, there's a huge sales component to our position. We want to make sure that you know about us and we know about you, and we're finding a great fit. And because successful alums is what we want you guys to achieve your dreams. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Oh, Mr. Menke, if you're talking, you're muted again.
Miss Bacigalupo, thank you. When I pull myself back on screen, it doesn't automatically unmute me, which is different from when you do it. So I had that problem a couple weeks ago with the senior night. Anyways, enough about me and my issues. So on screen right here, right now, would be just kind of some general to-dos and actions we encourage our 11th grade students and families to do. Of course, as always, you can communicate with us. You can meet with us, take advantage of our other programming to help with these things. You are not alone. You are not on an island with any of this. I'll throw out there one more time. If anyone wants to throw any questions in the comments, we can wait for those as we kind of wrap things up here. So again, junior year, you've got that SAT coming up in April. We do encourage students to take it more than once. Some schools still require it, not as many as you think anymore. However, a decent test performance can take a door that's open about halfway and kick it wide open, or maybe even increase the amount of funds to make that school even more affordable for you. Moving into senior year, again, fall senior year is pretty busy for students, especially those applying to four-year schools. If your student is interested in graduating in 7 semesters, a December graduate, they can begin at MCC that following January, a month later. Right now, we have about 60 current seniors who are on track to graduate in December. Many of them, probably most of them, will be taking their next steps immediately at MCC. Doesn't look like we have any other questions or comments coming in. So with that, on behalf of my colleagues here at McHenry High School, as well as my colleagues from Michigan Tech and MCC, we thank you for watching. We're here to help you out and ask you the question, what are you looking forward to?